too. I've never seen anything like that.
Well, welcome to, this is Kanoshi Abominito. Welcome to another episode of Project Console, episode 11, The Lawful Lawbreakers. Before we get into our topic, my panelists like to introduce himself.
Yeah, it's me, Mr. Red Fox. I have a channel called BS Busters on YouTube. That's it.
Alright, well, before we, our first topic of the night is the Game Award winners. We won't go through all of them. We'll go through, just a couple of the standouts, and yet again talk about how this industry just has really no standards pertaining to quality. So,
yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Just in time, since I just finished punching on something.
Jewel, before we start talking about the winners of the Game Awards, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, and sorry I'm a little late.
That's alright.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Project Console. I'm Joy Moonstar, and we're going to talk about the aftermath of what happened during the most boring thing in video game history this year.
So, the first thing I'd like to talk about, why the heck are the Game Awards so long? Is it really necessary for this show to be 3 hours?
It is a commercial. Like, all of the companies on the board for each year put money in to make it possible. And they put money in so that they'll have a audience for their, upcoming
Product?
games. Yeah, it's a big, huge commercial.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I understand it. I understand it's a commercial. I mean, you watch something like the Super Bowl, you're going to see a lot of commercials, but...
Yeah, but the Super Bowl is supposed to be a commercial.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Isn't there supposed to be a game going on along with that?
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. The Super Bowl is supposed to be a commercial. See, the thing is that Jeff Keighley said he wanted the Game Awards to give games the type of recognition that movies have with the Academy Awards. But here's the thing, okay? There's a lot of prestige behind the Academy Awards because there's many years where the Academy Awards messes up and it's like there's no real diversity in the films that are nominated. But I remember that year where everyone thought that La La Land was going to win Best Picture, and it was instead Moonlight.
Yeah.
And I was like, Moonlight is a very diverse film. It's about a young gay black man in southern Florida, I think like around Miami, like way down in the south, and how he comes of adolescence dealing with his sexuality and the drug-filled world he's in. And I'm like, that's a really good movie, and it's very diverse. So that really showcases what film can be about. There's been Academy Award things where I think 2 years ago one of the best actor winners was a trans woman who starred in a film where she was really art imitating life, and I've seen the movie, it's actually really good. So I mean, there's a lot of prestige and culturation going on there. The Game Awards is one big commercial for games, and most of these games aren't at the level where I would say they deserve that level of prestige or culture. Exactly. They're like, yeah, this game is great. You're not going to even remember that game in 2 years. Most of these games, any of the games that have won Game of the Year or won category Game Awards since they've been around, most people don't even remember 2 years after that particular event.
Yeah, I just I've even heard that we obviously know the Game Awards is fixed, but I've even heard conspiracy theories about the Oscars being somewhat fixed, like they buy off people with special packages and whatnot.
Well, it's not really, because most of the people who are part of the Academy, unfortunately, are old white dudes who have money. So if you already have money, it's really hard for someone, hey, we gave you a package that's worth like $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. Oh, that's cool, but I have like $20 million in my bank account. That's a completely... It's like if someone were to come up to me in my business establishment and give me $200 to bribe me to do something. It's like $200 to me isn't that much money. So it depends on where you are in your life, okay? But if you want to say the Academy is crooked, the fact that you don't really have a lot of diversity in the Academy of the people who are the people who get to nominate stuff, it's mostly a lot of old white dudes.
Yeah. And
it's like, if you don't have diversity, you can't see things from different people's point of view. Yeah. And this isn't anything. Like, if all the people you have in a club are all middle class people, or are all middle class people who were Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, you're not going to have a very diverse look at how stuff is really done, because that's their shared experience. They're all middle. You need diversity. You need some poor people. You need some wealthy people. You need some people in the middle. You need people from different ethnicities, people from different cultures, people from different socioeconomic backgrounds, because that way you're going to get different points of view, ways of looking at problems. Yeah, different lifestyle.
Variety gives out lifestyle differences, right?
Variety makes things better. And the Game Awards, you notice the vast majority of the games that get nominated in Game Awards were games that were popular amongst like a more casual fan base. Because you saw most of the games that really won, that have won in Game Awards, like occasionally they'll throw a bone to something that's more niche, but vast majority of the time it's stuff that's more accessible to the casual fan base.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not good. I mean, to me, that's not good because it's like,
Well, let's go. So let's go over some of these winners. So, most anticipated game. Let's see. Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Starfield. The winner was Elden Ring. So another.
Why am I not surprised there?
Another Dark Souls clone. So.
I mean, I'm not going to call it a Dark Souls clone because it's coming from Software, who are, I mean, they created the genre, so, you know.
Yeah, I never got the Dark Souls. I played the original Demon Souls, alright? I played the first of the Souls games. And, I didn't really like. I mean, people were raving about. I remember when people were raving about Demon Souls. The 10 people that had the opportunity, or were intrigued about the game. It won GameSpot's Game of the Year way back in the day. This is 2009, and I didn't really like how that game felt. I thought it felt clunky. I mean, the weight system was okay. I mean, I don't, that didn't really bother me, but it didn't feel like a third-person action game should feel like to me. Like, coming from games like Devil May Cry or God of War, even the Ninja Gaiden games, which I wouldn't say controlled the greatest, but it didn't. The control scheme didn't feel smooth, and I feel that those games, the somewhat broken third-person control scheme of those games are just that's not a bug, it's a feature.
I agree. But I mean, like, here's the thing. I have seen gameplay demo. I saw the gameplay demo, the in-depth gameplay demo of Elden Ring, and like a lot of the issues that people have with like the other Demon Souls games, they have they've learned from it. Like Sekiro, people are these Souls games are starting to learn from each other, having less of the cheap game design where you're in a hallway and there's a blind spot and an enemy spawns there to attack you from behind. They're getting rid of that. This one actually has jumping. And like long falls don't kill you. You have a jump that lets you there's some platforming. Now it's not perfect, but I mean they are getting better. At
least you're not dying from ambushes, which is a good thing.
Yeah, from what I've seen, they are getting better. I can understand this being a more anticipated game because just from my point of view. Yeah, I mean, we know that Starfield is going to come out, and a lot of people are as a Bethesda game. But at this point, I mean, we all know that there's going to be lots of bugs, lots of bugs.
I was about to say, if the word Bethesda, yeah, that means you need a bug hotel for that.
Let me put it this way: if any of you have ever seen Hoarders Buried Alive. And they have an episode where someone's house is not only filled with stuff that they've hoarded, but it's also like a vermin-infested mess, like cockroaches and stuff. That's how it feels in terms of using the euphemism for bugs with a Bethesda game. It's like, well, I know this is going to be filled with bugs. They're always filled with bugs. I have not seen a Bethesda game that has not been a bug-filled mess yet.
Yeah,
and that's a neat way of showing how bugged up those games are.
Yeah.
So here's the best multiplayer game. Back for Blood, It Takes Two, Knockout City, Monster Hunter Rise, New World, Valheim, and It Takes Two was the winner. Which is kind of weird because I heard nobody talk about this game, but I heard people gush over Valheim.
Yeah.
It's like
The only time I
What?
heard about that game was in memes.
Like, it doesn't look like a bad game. It's just nobody talked about it.
It's
Like,
a
I
game
didn't
out
hear
of nowhere.
anybody talk about it. The only time I heard people talk about was that whole Take-Two suing the guy for using It Takes Two.
Well, from what I heard, It Takes Two is actually a pretty good little game. It's a great game to play if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a kid or whatever. You know, like, it's a good co-op game. It's from the same guy who did he's the guy who, like, 2 years ago at the Game Awards was like F the Oscars or FE3 or some junk like that.
Yeah.
He's that guy. And I mean, to be fair, I mean, from the people that I've seen who've played it, they say it's a pretty good little game. You know, I mean, I personally wouldn't have made it my game of the year, but I mean, you know, it's not my show.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it, and it looks like a pretty fun little platformer. It looks good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying not a lot of people were... I didn't see, you know... I didn't see the sort of rabble-rousing, the sort of bandwagoning on the same level as Valheim. Although that's an early access game. I think it's still an early access game.
The full game isn't out yet. Yeah.
So I get it in a way. It'd just be kind of a weird if an early access game got.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know why early access games are even in the Game Awards. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Probably for the advertisement.
Like even when Hades, was an early access. If that ended, I mean, as good as that game was, even in early access, if that was in the Game Awards, it would have been like, yeah, this is weird. This game's not even finished. Like, I guess if you had a section for early access games, maybe, but even I would kind of I would scoff at that just for the fact that it's like, these games aren't finished. Why are they okay? It's like it's like if you gave an award to a movie that hadn't even been filmed yet, like you gave it to the script. Like, the movie's not even out yet.
No, it's filmed, but it hasn't been edited. The sound hasn't been put in. It's like, this is unfinished.
Yeah.
It's not finished yet. It's not ready to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like that. Like I said, the premise behind It Takes Two is actually kind of cool. You have a couple that is on the brink of divorce. They are unhappy with one another, and their kid gets kidnapped by some Jumanji-like game, and they have to put their arguments aside to come together. The husband and the wife.
Can't save the boy.
Well, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I'm just saying the general principle behind the game is like that.
Save the child.
And have to save the child and in the process, rekindle their relationship with each other, and that's why it's called It Takes Two. The opening, like, really, the trailer for this game was pretty cool because it played Kim Field, Tammy Terrell, and Marvin Gaye's It Takes Two, Motown hit during their fluff, poppy, teeny bopper style days. Like, it's like, wow, this is actually a pretty neat concept. Like, I'm not... Like, let me put it this way. I'm glad that indie game... Because it is an indie game. An indie game won. And it wasn't something that was like...
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't a gray, grimdark shooter. Or a gray, grimdark game, period. Like, The Last of Us 2. This sort of AAA, high-budget...
video game movie, because that's really movie video game, because that's what The Last of Us really was. It was a movie video game.
Like I'm not mad about it at all. Game, like I keep saying, game looks great. I just find it kind of weird. But I don't think it's people who decide
Uh-huh.
on this. I think it's the
The board.
the board who decides the winners.
It's the board, and then they open it up to a few voters to make it seem like their
I was
vote
going to
matters.
say that it's 90-10, as in 90% it's all with the committee, and that last little percentage with the people.
I mean, I'm not going to go that far. Like, basically, how they handle the voting for the Game Awards is, remember how Nintendo handled the character ballots for the character voting for Smash Bros. Ultimate?
Yeah.
Where, like, even ones where the popular vote won, they were like, yeah, we're not going to be able to get those right, so we'll just do whatever we want to do. Like, that's basically kind of like how they handle a lot of the voting for the Game Awards. So, I mean, like, I don't take this stuff seriously. Like, people who are like, well, the game that I like won the Game Awards. So what?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I don't
something
know.
that you like. I mean, because people have tribalism and they want what they like to win. But, I mean, like, I'm just saying, I'm just glad Game of the Year wasn't a AAA mess. Because if there's one thing we learned this year is that you cannot trust AAA companies. for Jack's squad.
Yeah.
Can't trust them. You cannot trust a AAA company.
All right, best sim strategy game. Age of Empire 4, Evil Genius 2, Humankind, Inscription, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and Age of Empire 4 was the winner.
I mean, I personally would have given it to Evil Genius 2, but Evil Genius 2 doesn't really... it's a great game, but it's been so long since Age of Empires. You know, they had to give it to Age of Empires 4.
Yeah. Best.
You know?
Yeah. Best.
It's like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, in hindsight, is not really the best Legend of Zelda game. But if you wait like almost a decade between Legend of Zelda games, they could have put out something that was worse than Breath of the Wild, and people would have loved it because it had been so long since they played.
I question that.
I mean, Breath of the Wild isn't that good. I'm not gonna lie. Graphically, it's great, but there's a lot of issues with that game. But like I said, if you're waiting 10 years between, you know. It's like if you love chocolate cake and you haven't been able to get your hands on chocolate cake for 10 years, even if you got some dry, kind of mediocre chocolate cake, you'd still be like, this is great!
Yeah. Alright, best sports racing game. F1 2021, filed FIFA 2020, Hot Wheels Unleashed, Forza Horizon 5.
They gave it to Forza?
Yeah, they gave it to Forza. And then Rise.
I mean, they kind of had to.
I'm not surprised.
They kind of had to. Because of everything on that list. I heard that Hot Wheels Unleashed is actually pretty good for a licensed game. For a licensed game, it's like one of the best licensed games you'll play. But, I mean, they couldn't take themselves seriously to the casual crowd saying that the best racing game is a Hot Wheels game.
Yeah, that would have been... Yeah, people would have...
I almost would laugh my rear end off if that ever happened.
They would have burnt down the Microsoft studios if they did something like that.
Would have been a Cranky Kong moment.
Yeah.
It would have been like, oh, no, you didn't.
Oh, if anything, that would have been the best laugh of my life with that one. I mean, seriously.
Well, I mean, and plus, it just wouldn't have looked good. Because, I mean, here's the thing. Forza Horizon is actually, from the people that I've talked to who've played it, they say that it's a really good game. They say it's one of the best Forzas for a while. It's the reason why Need for Speed from EA has been just kind of falling behind in the race of racing games, because Forza Horizon's just been, you know...
A burning tire?
It's just really good. Allegedly, this is what I heard. I'm not really into console racing games these days. Like, if I'm going to play a racing, like the only racing game that I kind of play on console is Excite Blast, or sorry, Need for Speed, not Need for, Cruisin' Blast on my Switch. Aside from that, normally when I play racing games, I play them on my PC, and those are sims, which are very resource intensive. So I'm not playing Forza.
The best fighting game? Demon Slayer.
Oh boy.
Let's see. Demon Slayer. Yeah, Demon Slayer. Guilty Gear Strive. Melty Blood. Nickelodeon All Stars. Virtual Fighter 5. Ultimate Showdown. Don't know why they put a remaster. So I think that's just the remaster of an older game that came out years ago. But whatever. The winner is Guilty Gear Strive, so.
Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep on telling people
good.
this. If you want to play, if you ever thought, man, I wish I could play an innovative 2D fighter that basically took the formula of Street Fighter and didn't dumb it down the way Street Fighter is now and kept kind of the same type of 2D
Guilty
fighting.
Gear is your thing.
Guilty Gear is what you want. Like, like Guilty Gear is easy to get into, hard to master, but once you master one or two characters, you can play. It's great.
Yeah. And then, here's a point of contention. The best RPG.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077. Why are you even here?
No.
Why are you even at the Game Awards? Let's talk about that.
If this was a high school classroom, I'd be the teacher saying, "Get out of my class. You're in the wrong classroom."
Yeah, you don't belong here.
This is AP Physics. You need to be in remedial. Go down. Remedial is on the other side of the school, in the little classroom with the wonky air conditioning.
Yeah.
With those desks that are slightly too small, so your legs gonna fall asleep in the class. That's where you need to be.
Yeah.
Now, for the rest of the class, we're gonna dissect fetal pigs.
Monster Hunter Rise. That's not really
an RPG.
It's not really an RPG, is it?
That is not an RPG.
That's more like a resource
That's
gathering.
an MMO
game.
light.
Not really an MMO either.
Not really an MMO either. Monster Hunter is, it's a resource grinding game. Is what it is.
Yeah.
Except instead of like Minecraft, where you just go around just fighting stuff and tearing up the environment to get resources, in Monster Hunter you just fight monsters to get resources, and you also kind of gather them from the environment. But mostly it's fighting monsters. It's that's the grind. It's like, okay, I'm gonna fight this monster to get it to drop a body part that I can take back and craft into something to make a better weapon or armor, so that I can get more powerful, so that I can fight stronger monsters. That's the gameplay loop. But that's not an RPG though.
Scarlet.
I don't know.
Oh, go ahead.
I just don't know why they even put it in the RPG category. Because every year they do this. Every year they have the Game Awards, but like they put games for nominations for RPG. Like, that's not an RPG.
In places that shouldn't.
Yeah,
that is not an RPG.
Where's Pathfinder? That came out this year. Why isn't that on this list?
Because that's a computer RPG, and that's not mass market enough. That's very niche. You notice everything here is very mass market.
Yeah.
Like, casuals play it.
Scarlet Nexus is a third-person action game with RPG elements. I mean, you do.
It is not an RPG.
It's not really an RPG, no.
Not in the classical sense of the word. No, it is not.
The only RPG on this list, Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yeah. And I mean, I enjoy Megaten 5, but that game is too damn hard.
Yeah.
It's too hard. It's too hard for...
I was about to say, people said that they want a hard game, and then we get this.
No. Shin Megami Tensei isn't hard in the Like Shin Megami Tensei is hard in a this is frustrating to play type of way. But that's just how the Megaten series is. It's very frustrating to play. Like you have to it's like the Megaten series is not an easy series to get into. It's difficult to get into. And that's just the way it is. It's where it needs to be. And it wasn't going to be Game of the Year.
Yeah,
like, you Nintendo fans who were like, "Oh, it's there. It's gonna be Game of the Year."
It wasn't the winner. It was Tales of Arise. That was the winner. That was the winner.
Which
Oh,
I was not thinking it would be because it's a Nintendo game. I was thinking that it's because it's an RPG that would at least have a good chance.
Yeah, but I mean, you already know that most of the time the games that win are the ones that have mass market or casual appeal. And Megaten is not a casual game. It's a very old school, hardcore RPG, and that's not going to win Game of the Year. It's not for RPG. It isn't. It's got to be something that's more has more
player
mass
friendly.
market appeal. Yeah, it's got to have more casual appeal. And I'm sorry, that's going to be the game there that has more casual appeal. So that's it.
yeah, that was
Annoying, but I'll take it.
all right. But best action adventure game: Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Metroid Dread, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village, Psychonauts 2. I probably would have either given it to Psychonauts 2 or Guardians of the Galaxy, but Metroid Dread was the winner. Oh.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. I think the only reason
Here comes the Fed.
The only reason Metroid Dread got it is because we haven't had a new Metroid game in years.
Yeah.
Because on a mechanical level, I think Psychonauts 2 is better.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like I said, Metroid Dread doesn't really add anything new to the franchise.
It's safe. It essentially plays off of. I've enjoyed it from what I play. I think it's a good game, but
saying it's not good. I'm just simply saying it doesn't add anything new to the franchise. Like they take the concept, like it sounds like to me, it feels like when they were on the planning stages of that game, they walked up and they said, "Hey, remember how that sense of tension you felt in Metroid Fusion, where the Sax-infested Samus armor would hunt you down? What if we multiplied that times 6?
Yeah.
Let's do that. It's like you can, because
It's not bad.
No, I'm not saying that's bad, but that doesn't add anything new.
I was about to say it's not bad, but I was about to say, what's the lore behind it?
No, it's not even a lore thing. It's just like every other Metroid game has added something. Every other 2D Metroid game, except for that weird that Samus 2, that the Metroid 2 Samus Returns remake. They try to add something different to the series, right? Samus 2 added changed up, just aesthetically changed up the suit. Super Metroid added the different, like how you could have all the stuff in your inventory, and it had really good environmental. Yeah, could have all your stuff equipped at one time. It had like the environmental storytelling down. Fusion basically kind of flipped it on its head. It's like, well, okay, Samus is a bad behind bounty hunter. Let's see what it feels like when Samus isn't the hunter, she's the prey. And that was like, Fusion is brilliant for that, because you're always hearing Samus is a bad bounty hunter. Like, people see her coming, they poo-poo their pants when they hear Samus Aran's after you. I gotta change my underwear. And then you play Fusion, and you find your armor hunting you down, and Samus has been has been injected with the Metroid DNA, which makes her particularly vulnerable to the weapons that the sex-infested armor suit has. So whenever you hear that music kick in and that thing hunting you down, it's like, oh snap, I'm in trouble. I better hide. They just took that concept and just added multiplied times 6. It's like, what else is new going on here? And it's not really. I don't feel that it was really innovative in that regard.
Yeah. But let's see.
But it was going to get it because, like I said, it's been 10 years since we had a new Metroid game. Over 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a minute or two.
Let's do it, yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's like that old adage by Eddie Murphy: if you hadn't had intimate relations for like a long time, and then you finally, you haven't eaten for a long time, and then you get a cracker, you think that's the best cracker in the world, but then you realize after it's like, oh, this is just a cracker. That's basically how it feels with Metroid. It's not terrible, but
here's the.
It's kind of funny when other things are able to keep you busy, and then when something comes back, it just doesn't feel like you missed it too much.
No, I just feel that it could have been more innovative. That's all I'm saying.
Best action game: Back 4 Blood, Chivalry 2, Deathloop, Far Cry 6, and Returnal's the winner.
Really, I thought it would be Deathloop. Deathloop is way more innovative.
Yeah, Deathloop is way more interesting. Sounds a bit more interesting. Returnal always looked kind of interesting to me, but when that game came out, it had a lot of problems.
Oh yeah, it ran very poorly even on console.
Yeah.
Like it was crashing on the PS5 and PS4.
Yeah.
Or is it on? I think it was.
PlayStation 5.
It's only on PlayStation. It wasn't running very well on PlayStation, if I remember correctly. Like it was having issues.
Yeah, people's saves were getting corrupted. It was,
ouch.
People were complaining about not being able to save. During runs.
Or their saves were getting corrupted where they were supposed to like get some type of currency back at the start of their new thing so that they could, get, because that's the gameplay loop of Returnal, is that like you get so far, the levels are procedurally generated and different every time, and then when you die, like you go back to certain locations that are tied to where you died, and you can find your corpse and like get some of your stuff back. And it's like, apparently there was something going on where that was like not working properly.
Because the runs were, typically, they weren't, I guess the runs were longer than they are in a typical roguelike game. So people wanted to be able to save, be able to pause during a run. So, but just a lot of things. But somehow it still became the winner.
I mean, we all know that Sony probably paid for some of the adverts going on in Game Awards. No, I mean, when it's an award show where the sponsors are paying for stuff, you gotta pay the bills.
Now this isn't interesting.
They're still paying and they're bribing.
But
it's a little tricky to tell.
There's nothing in the Game Awards bylaws that says they have to be fair and unbiased, so it's not bribery. It's called paying your bills.
So, innovation and accessibility. This is an interesting topic. Recognizing software and/or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. So essentially, gamers who have disabilities or whether that be hearing or sight or motor. So here are the games: Far Cry 6, Forza Horizon 5, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, the Valley, Shadows of the Crown. So Forza Motorsports. Oh, Forza Horizon 5 was the winner of that category.
I unfortunately are not familiar with any of the features those games have that are handicap that make them handicap accessible.
People are
Makes me wonder.
there are people tearing each other's throat out, complaining about games having training wheels on them. This discussion we have, that we usually go in circles about anytime a game decides to have a handicap feature in it. Apparently, it's the worst thing ever created by man, and that
Handicaps done wrong is gonna alienate somebody.
I mean, I know for Far Cry 6, the handicap feature is that for people who are not sighted, like it has like an audio narrator who tells everything that's going on. So, I mean, like, here's the thing. I don't think people shouldn't be able to play a game because they can't see or they can't, they have their colorblind
not
or something
2020.
like that. Well, I mean, they can't see or they have, or like either they have bad eyesight or they just can't, they're blind. I don't think people should be cut out of a hobby because they are like,
visually impaired.
They have some type of physical or disability. I don't think people should be cut out from that. I think this category wasn't about excessive, like wasn't about like a easy mode, like the Super Kong that they had in Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. I think it was more like, what features do they have to make it so that people who normally typically would not have access to these games can play them?
Well, people get so. I understand that. I definitely admire that, but people get so upset about stuff like the Super Kong or like the Infinite, P-Wing or some of the Mario.
They had that in what was it called? Mario U. New Super Mario Brothers U, where like if you died enough times, you could get the white gliding raccoon suit.
White raccoon suit, yeah.
Not raccoon. Gliding squirrel suit, and it was like here's the thing, dudes. You don't have to use it.
See,
you can literally jump over it and keep on playing normally.
That's the thing. People were so upset about the Forza thing too, like the auto driving mechanic, and they were just so butthurt about the idea of just training wheels in a video game. It just I don't get it. It's like you don't have to use it. It's like
it's not for you anyway.
Yeah.
It's not for. It's like getting mad at a restaurant. Well, they have vegan options. Well, I can't eat there. Are you vegan? No. Then why do you care that they offer a vegan option for people who are vegan?
Yeah,
you don't have to eat it. No one's forcing you. Now, if someone busts at your table and says, "Hey, man, you better eat this vegan loaf, or we're gonna have a problem." Okay, then you can be, you can have an issue. I'm with you, but
like people get so hurt and so wounded anytime anybody brings up the idea of a difficulty meter for any of the Souls games. It's like you've taken a dump on their holy idol or something. It's absolutely insane. It's like you don't have to use it. If you have a game with the difficulty settings, you can play it normal or as hard as you want to play it. It's like, what's the big deal?
You know what it is? This is where I'm going to say, like, normally I'm the person who says, like, either, like, certain games, they don't really have a difficulty level. It's just, if you want to be able to get good at a certain point, you just have to get to that level. But other games, look, I'm all for making them more accessible. I mean, like, one of my favorite developers, Platinum makes great games. Their difficulty curves stink. Their games are too hard for most people to play. So you know what? I think they could deal with having easier modes in their game. The only Platinum game I have ever played where the difficulty curve was like that sweet spot for Platinum, because it was still, there were parts of that game that had incredible difficulty spikes, was
Okami?
Okami is the only game developed by Platinum/Clover, because they used to be called Clover, that had a really good difficulty curve. Every other Clover/Platinum game is hard.
Yeah.
God Hand, hard. Beautiful Joe 1 and 2, hard. DMC 2, which they helped make, hard. That game was so hard, they had to make another version that was easier for people because the base game was so darn hard. Okay?
That was DMC 3. I bought that game. I remember buying that game years ago, and the thing about this game is if you died during a mission, and those missions can take like 20-30 minutes to get through if you don't know what you're doing.
You have to start all over again.
You have to start the entire mission all over again.
Yeah. and don't get me started on a God Hand. Hard.
Yeah.
All these games, it's like they, for some reason, Platinum cannot get their difficulty curve. Mighty Number, what was Wonderful 101. Wonderful 101. Wonderful 101. I love Wonderful 101. There are like 50% of the gameplay features they don't even tell you about in the game. You have to go and look it up.
Yeah. That's one of the things. It's like, you know, the meme is always get good, scrub. But at the same time, you shouldn't have to hunt, you know, put on your hunting gear on and try to figure out how the game works.
Yeah, I should not have to turn into Sherlock Holmes in order to make my games better.
Like
in order to figure out stuff.
Like, I get it when games were relatively new and people, developers were still
trying to figure
out. We're still trying to
find all those missions. That's the hard part for me when trying to play those Platinum games. Oh, God.
They were trying to, a lot of the developers were trying to figure out what, how to structure a game. Obviously, some of those, some ideas, like The Legend of Zelda, it was to kind of get people to talk to their friends, but at this point, nobody wants to be frustrated when trying to figure out how to play a game.
Yeah, people just want to dive in. Okay, now, I mean, I recently went back and I was playing, and I've been playing GTA San Andreas and Bully. And there are entire gameplay concepts that you can't find out in the manuals that you just have to discover as you're playing. They're really hard because of that, and this is like 6th gen difficulty. And they just don't exist today because everything is more accessible. And, I mean, that's not a good or bad thing. I'm just saying that, things have changed.
I was going to say, giving people access can change how the landscape of gaming is.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Because, I mean, making things more accessible is a good thing because it means you have more people, you have a wider audience, and typically speaking, that means that you have a wider pool of people playing something. So if something, in theory, because it's not what happens usually, but in theory, it means that you'll get games that should be more experimental because they have a large enough audience that they can try different things. That doesn't happen. What you get is a lot of the same thing over and over again, and they refuse to take chances, which is sad because gamer stagnation is a real thing.
Yeah. Skip VR just because I don't think any of us really care too much about VR.
I mean, I'm not a VR trooper, are you?
No.
Oh, God. Thank you for putting that song back in my head.
Of all those Power Ranger knockoffs back in the day, I was always more of a Masked Rider man myself, and Super Samurai
I thought it
Force.
was Common Rider.
Well, in America, they called it Masked Rider, even though Common Rider is basically the same thing, translation wise. And Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Oh God!
But what was the next
Now I
category?
remember that. So,
All right, best community support. Apex.
oh boy, this is easy.
Apex Legend, Escape, Destiny 2, Beyond Light, Final Fantasy 14, Online, Fortnite, No Man's Sky. And the winner is Final Fantasy 14.
I mean, yeah.
Considering that it's a refuge for World of Warcraft, I'm not surprised.
Well, I don't even think that's the reason it got that. Like, people forget that the guy who was the director and the team that worked on that game to turn it around, they literally listened to the people who were still playing it to turn it around.
Yeah.
Like, they listened to their fan base to make that game better.
Yeah. Which doesn't happen very often these days.
And that does not happen very often. Most of the time, what you get is a lot of like whining and complaining, and we don't listen to our fan base. To heck with them. You know, we're gonna do what we want. Most of the time, you get Rockstar who don't listen to their fan base at all.
I would I mean, I tried playing it. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad game. It's just a lot of those MMOs are just too grindy for me. I just don't think I would have the
Have the time to put in there.
Yeah, it's a lot of time you have to put into those games to get anywhere. So
yeah, I agree. That's why I like Guild Wars and SWTOR, because like there's experience boosts in SWTOR, and Guild Wars is easy to get. Like Guild Wars isn't as grindy. Plus, there's no monthly fee in Guild Wars, so you can just play it and level up at your leisure. But to each his own.
Yeah. Best mobile game. Let's see. Fantasia.
Be a category.
Fantasia.
I was gonna say.
League of Legends. Marvel Future Revolution. Pokemon Unite. And the winner and the king of gacha games, Genshin Impact.
It's Genshin Impact.
Genshin Impact. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I heard Genshin Impact is good because even if you don't want to spend a lot of money on it, you can basically play that game and grind just through gameplay and get stuff, which I'm always down with.
Yeah. Best debut indie game. Sable, the Artful Escape. Yeah, Sable, the Artful Escape, the Forgotten City, Valheim, and the winner is Kena Bridge of Spirits. I don't know if any of you played
I heard that's kind of good, but
it seemed like it got mixed.
Our opinion.
From the people that I heard who played it, they said that the game doesn't really start to pick. It's short, and the game doesn't really start to pick up until the latter third of the game. And by that point, like once the story gets started, like the game is over. So it's like,
oh jeez, oh no.
Yeah, it's one of those games where it's like from what's there is good, but it's a short game. You can tell it's an indie studio, and they kind of ran out of their budget, and they're like, okay, we can make this small bite really, really good, or we can run out of money and not get the game out. So they did what they had to do to get something out. So I can't really get mad at it, but I mean, that's the problem with being an indie studio. You're not going to be able to make games as big and expansive as you would like.
Yeah.
You just don't have the resources.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, basically, gaming is like this. If you're an indie, like, indies have all the ideas, none of the resources. Mid-tier developers, which are few and far between these days, have some of the ideas and some of the resources. Big guys have all the resources, none of the ideas.
None of the ideas, yeah.
And they can't afford to do new ideas because if they do something different, they'll make their fan base mad and lose their resources. So they have to keep on churning out the same regurgitated garbage over and over and over again in perpetuity, or until people get tired of it.
Something happens.
No, people get tired of it. Sad, but that's what we have to deal with, folks.
Yep. So, the best indie game. 12 Minutes, Death's Door, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Inscription, Loop Hero, and the winner, oddly enough, is Kena Bridge of Spirits. It's like...
That's weird, because I've been seeing Loop Hero going on in commercials every time I check on YouTube.
I heard it's pretty good, but I'm not really...
Loop Hero is a bit of a maintenance puzzle game.
Yeah, I heard it's kind of grindy, and the difficulty kind of spikes up. Look, the days of me playing really hard games just to play them are behind me. Yeah. Which is why I'm kind of wading my way through Megaten 5. I'm like, I can't. I'm not kicking a rock, kicking a boulder with my foot these days, trying to, I'll get through it. I'm not, no. Why do you think I play so many games on PC where I can just get a trainer and make it easier? It's like, I'm just here for the story. I'm not here to grind. I'm not here to, like, the days of me doing that, except for, like, GTA, like, sandbox style games and some RPGs that I really love, like Persona 4. Like, that's, like, my favorite Persona game. Like, there's certain games where I'll grind like that, but by and large, I don't these days.
Yeah, not playing the role. Not playing the role of Sisyphus, rolling that boulder up the hill just to watch it go tumbling down.
I'm just not into gaming like that, like I used to. Like when I was younger, like when I was in high school, I gamed like that. When I was in college, and like I was doing like 18 credit hours, and I'd have like, okay, like these 2 days I have free this week. I've done my homework. I did my studying. I'm just gonna play this game. Like you're talking to the guy who played Phantasy Star Online 1 and 2 plus so much on the GameCube that I maxed out the time clock on it. So I mean, I've been there. I've had that addiction. I'm not going back.
Yeah.
For gaming, I'm not doing it. So for me, like these days, a game's like, you got to grind real hard to get this special. Like that stuff that they did in Final Fantasy X. It's like, oh, you want to get Lulu's ultimate weapon? You got to dodge 999 bolts of lightning.
Yeah,
I did that back in the day. These days, I would take that disc and break it in half and throw it in the trash. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. No.
So, yeah. So, best ongoing game. Apex Legends, Call of Duty, Warzone, Final Fantasy 14 Online, Fortnite, Genshin Impact. Winner is Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Who else would it be?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised.
And
so, if anything, I'd have to look at somebody if it had to be Genshin Impact.
I mean, they earned it with Final Fantasy 14. Because remember when that game was failing? And everyone's like, yeah, they can't turn that around. That's done. But they did. Like, remember that?
Yeah.
I would say that it's a better turnaround of failure to success than No Man's Sky.
Yeah, because No Man's Sky still isn't what it was originally promised to be. It's better, but it's still not what it could have been.
So, let's get past some of these. Also, another thing about the Game Awards before we go, before we go to Best Art Direction before we go to Best Art Direction, it feels like they have a lot of, especially at the beginning of the list, they have a lot of unnecessary categories. It's like, how many people really pay attention to esports, for example?
Well, they had to pad that out, man.
Yeah.
They had to pad it out and make it. It's kind of like when VHS got really cheap and camcorders got really cheap in the 80s, so everyone was making movies.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if anything, at least I hope that. I thought if anything, they at least do some musical performances, at least.
I mean, they did. I mean, didn't they have like a famous rock star play, like, I think it was Sting or something, play like the first, play some of the music from some famous game? If I remember properly. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I like Sting. I mean, I don't like modern Sting. I like Sting when he was with the Police, because he had stuff like Roxanne and Don't Stand So Close to Me and Every Step You Take and
that's why I was a bit worried because sometimes, because right now, and I'm going to say this with likely getting some bad looks at me, some of the video game music that they use for trying to advertise, it's more cringe than FM radio.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I get what you're saying. But
I said some.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but back to what you're saying, Kenoshi, you're right. I totally agree. They do kind of pad it out because they want it to reach a certain amount of time. Because, I mean, it's an advertisement. And Jeff Keighley's like, look, I promise that you will get this much exposure. And he has to give so much exposure to the people who gave him money. So, it's a big commercial. It's one big commercial.
So, Best Art Direction, Deathloop, Kingdom Bridge of Spirits, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart.
Let me guess, Psychonauts 2 got art direction?
No, it was actually Deathloop.
Okay, I could see that. Deathloop and...
Actually, I'm surprised.
I mean, Deathloop's art direction makes it look like you're playing a 1960s James Bond game. Except, every time you die, you come back.
Yeah. And then there's Best Narrative. Deathloop, It Takes Two, Life is Strange, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Psychonauts 2. The winner is Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
Not Psychonauts 2? Psychonauts 2 is a better story.
Yeah, it does. I mean, again, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, or Guardians of the Galaxy surprised me, but Psychonauts 2 is...
Psychonauts good. Yeah, it's not Psychonauts 2 good. But even the first Psychonauts had a great story.
Yeah.
So I can't really... I don't know, man.
Then,
I mean, look, maybe Microsoft didn't pony up enough money. I don't know.
Yeah. Then, Game of the Year, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8 Village, Resident Evil Village, whatever. The winner is It Takes Two.
Yeah. I mean, I knew Metroid wasn't going to get it.
Yeah.
I don't think Nintendo has ever won Game of the Year at any of these Game Awards.
Yeah, I mean, Breath of the Wild won a couple of years ago, but...
but it didn't get Game of the Year. It got some...
I think it got Game of the Year.
I mean, I could be misremembering it, but I don't think it got Game of the Year.
Let me check real quick.
I think it won something else. It was nominated, but I don't think it won. But I could be wrong. If I am, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa.
Yeah, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The winner of the Game Awards
All right.
2017. So every once in a while they get it.
Every once in a while they get it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There was a blue moon that year.
I mean, like I said, there hadn't been a new Legend of Zelda game for like almost a decade.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't eaten for like a month and someone gives you a cracker, you're gonna think that's the best cracker in the world.
Yeah.
Even though in hindsight, it's just a cracker.
Well, while there were many awards announced, there were also announcements of various games. We won't go through all of them. Just go through some of them. Tunic. What do you guys think of that?
It looks like the best Legend of Zelda, like handheld Legend of Zelda game that Nintendo hasn't made for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it looked like. It looks like someone was like, man, I really want to play a handheld Legend of Zelda game, but Nintendo don't make those no more, so I'll think we'll make one. But we don't have the rights to use Link. Okay, we'll take Link and we'll turn him into a fox. We'll change his shield into something else, but we'll keep a sword. We'll call it the Rasta sword instead of the Master Sword. Boom. Okay, cool. Tunic. I mean, he even wears a little green tunic like Link. It looks like a Legend of Zelda game with a better combat system. That's what it is. It's a 2D Legend of Zelda game with a better combat system.
And they have a demo of it out right now, and it's supposed to be coming out next year. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like the last good handheld Legend of Zelda game I played was Link Between Worlds. That was a long time ago. So I'm looking forward to playing a 2D Legend of Zelda game.
And Homeworld 3. Have you guys ever played the Homeworld games?
Tried to get into them, but they're too
out there.
No, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. It's just they're a little too difficult for me to get into.
Oh.
Like I like the space games I like are space games that basically let me just have a ship and travel around. Like I don't want to do strategy in space because then it gets to be too much. You have to worry about economics, diplomacy, stuff with your own planet, alien. Like there's so many things. There's so many balls you're trying to juggle, and like I don't want to pay attention to that much stuff while I'm playing a game.
Yeah.
Like that's too much.
Yeah, I've never gotten I like to call them spreadsheet games. I've never been a huge fan of those kind of games either.
I'm not against it. It's just a little too, just for me personally, because when you're dealing with like if you're playing like Civilization, you just have to deal with your nation, your resources. With space, let's say you can't colonize other planets. You have to deal with your planet stuff, that planet stuff, that planet stuff. If you have a fleet, your fleet's resource. Like it's so much stuff you have to worry about, and I don't have the energy for that. I just don't. So
yeah.
I can play a lot of strategy games, but that's
this game when they showed it off at the PlayStation event a few months ago. Babylon's Fall was incredibly disappointing. I remember when they first showed off, it was a teaser trailer. It was like, man, this game looks interesting. And then they showed it off again after the game going dark for a while. And then it just looked awful. It was just like, what happened to this game? What? I guess
downgrade it to run on the current gen hardware. That's what.
It's probably, and I heard they were trying to do microtransaction stuff in this game to try to squeeze people for more money.
Yeah, that's a hard left for me. I mean, that's a hard U-turn for me. Nope, bye.
Yeah, that's this game's probably gonna probably try to make this game $70 too.
Well, who's it from?
No, it's Square Enix is the publisher.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Platinum is developing it. Square Enix is the publisher.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it's that game that I remember about it, and I was like, oh, well, it's from Platinum, so it's gonna have an awesome combat system. And then like, no, it's gonna be like a battle royale type thing, and microtransactions. Like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, that's a no. That's a nope for me.
Yep.
They announced
a hard U-turn.
Yeah, they announced a new a new expansion for Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak. But
a creature wanders restlessly through the darkness. Silver light illuminates the land and the mountains.
No. Yeah, you're not.
I'm a Monster Hunter fan. I've tried, and it just doesn't really appeal to me. I was playing the demo of Monster Hunter Rise, and I was like, this is running like hot buttered booty on my Switch. And I was like, and this is the demo, like, there's not as much going on in the demo as in the main game. Why would I want to play a game that's running like hot buttered booty?
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to pay $6 for it? Plus the expansion's what, $40 for the season passes and all. Like, I don't want to pay $100 for a game to run poorly on my console, especially when it's only on that console. Like, it's not like they had to put it on different platforms. They didn't have time to optimize it.
Yeah. So there's this game called Evil West that they announced, which I guess you're playing in the Wild West fighting demons.
Now that looked cool.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was looking at this. I was like, you know what? That looks interesting.
Yeah.
This is an interesting announcement.
Yeah.
It's like Doom, but in the Wild Wild West. Well, not Doom. It's like Duke Nukem Future Shock on the N64, where it was like a third-person Duke Nukem game where you were going into like different time periods and stuff. It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the thing about, the Wild West. If you do something interesting like this, I'll probably give it a chance.
Yeah.
You
know. Of course, it probably ain't coming to the Switch, so good thing I got other stuff to play stuff on.
This is an interesting title. Have a nice death. it's like okay.
And that's the theme of gaming in the 9th gen.
Yeah, have a nice death. Oh, man.
Oh, you want stuff to be of similar quality as it was 2 or 3 gens ago? Have a nice death. It's not gonna happen.
Oh man.
No, we're gonna charge you more for less content, or strip stuff out, charge you for it after the fact.
Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, which was enslaved by the PS3 for the past 10 or so years, and now it's coming to everything. So
I mean, does anyone care? Was anyone asking for a Persona game, a Persona-based fighting game? I wasn't.
I've heard,
and I'm a Persona fan.
I've heard good things about it, and it's made by Arc System.
I mean, so they make good games, but it's just like a Persona fighting game.
Yeah.
Why?
This is from somebody that probably likes Melty Blood that would say that you're nuts saying that.
I just don't want a Persona fighting game. Like, there's so many other spin-offs I would rather have. I would rather see another installment into Shin Megami Tensei Kids.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather have that. Or I'd rather have another spin-off like Devil Summoner that was on the Game Boy Color. That was, I mean, that's how they localized it in the West. It really was a Shin Megami Tensei game, but it was a completely different setting than what we normally had. Like, I'd rather have that than a fighting game. I mean, I think of a lot of things when I think Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, but fighting game ain't one of them.
Yeah. Senua's Sage, Hellblade 2. So they're making another one of these.
Well, I heard that the first one was kind of good.
Yeah,
you like that type of thing.
It's very atmospheric. If you have a good pair of headphones, the audio's pretty incredible. But I played it, but I never picked it up. I was like, well, this is kind of interesting, and then never picked it up again. It's not bad. It's just I don't think it's not something.
You weren't. It wasn't catching you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of games are like, yeah, I like this game, but just, it's just not really. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
We will embrace us.
So David Cage is making a Star Wars game. So that's going to be all over the place.
It's going to be terrible.
It's
just like every other Quantic Dream game. It's going to be terrible.
I don't know how Quantic Dream's got the Star Wars license.
They said, hey, we're not going to mess it up like EA did. That's how they got it. I mean, to be fair, EA did pull their pants down and really wet down the Star Wars franchise with all those microtransactions, So, to be fair, like, being mediocre at this point is going to be better than what EA did with the license.
I mean, it looks really like the CGI trailer. I mean, visually it looks really good, but it's probably going to be a badly written story full of pretentious nonsense.
And bad gameplay, because Quantic Dream games don't really have gameplay.
Yeah.
They don't have gameplay. It's a series of cutscenes, and you press button and something happens.
Yeah.
And, if you like that, then, knock yourself out. But, I mean, I personally would not play a game that didn't have gameplay, but,
And the trailer doesn't really explain much of anything. It just shows all these environments and set pieces. It's like, okay, what am I supposed to take away from this? This just seems whatever.
I mean, I keep on saying this. I guess I'm the Star Wars fan of the channel, aside from your friend. And I like Star Wars, but I don't think I think everyone keeps on going in the wrong direction for Star Wars games. Like, they keep on trying. It's like, look, you have this massive galaxy, go to different places. Stop. Because I guarantee this game is probably going to recycle and regurgitate a whole bunch of stuff that we've already seen in the series over and over again. And I'm like, they keep on saying, in a galaxy far, far away. Why do we keep on visiting the same 5 planets over and over again?
A desert
if I
planet?
have to go to Tatooine, a desert planet, an ice planet.
A city planet.
A city planet. And they don't even go in depth. If they were going in depth, I'd be like, oh, this is cool. It's the same thing, and they aren't doing jack squat new.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. I'm just some guy. I'm just some guy. I mean, I just been a fan of the franchise since I was a little kid. I just, waited desperately to get my hands on. I remember when it was a big deal where, they treated Star Wars like it was the Disney Vault, where occasionally the VHSs would go on sale and they'd be out and you could buy them. But most of the time, you just had to hope and pray that, they would put it on, Like I remember when Star Wars came on cable, and it wasn't like HBO or anything. It was on USA, and we recorded it, and that's how we got our first copy of Star Wars, commercials and all.
Yeah.
But just forget people like me.
Well, there's also this game called Lost Ark. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for it. Looks interesting.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, it looks like a Diablo game of some sorts.
I'm okay with that.
And then there was Wonder Woman, which trailer told us nothing except that there's a Wonder Woman game that's going to use the Nemesis system.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and they're probably going to over monetize that too.
Unite old enemies.
Yeah.
Forge new.
WB seems to be the least of the offenders, but they probably, because I wonder if they're going to, because of the uproar that their last game had.
Yeah. Like the people are like, it's not going to be that bad. It's like people forgot that the reason that game got panned was because some guy who was like a majorly important person in the industry died. And they're like, we're going to give an homage to this character, and they charge people an arm, like they microtransaction the heck out of the little commemorative thing they had for the character. And I was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's such a greedy D-bag thing to do.
So here's a game that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Alan Wake 2. Why are you announcing this game 2 years in advance? I wish companies would stop doing this.
They had to.
It's like 2023. Why not wait until 2022 E3s to announce this?
They had to. They had to do that. They had to announce it early because remember,
it's gonna be a Final Fantasy VII R at this point.
No. Remember, the first Alan Wake was a commercial failure.
Yeah.
But it's a cult hit, so they have to get the people who are invested in the series to be invested in it early.
Yeah.
Like that's just the way it is. I know some people are going to get angry about it. Like, why announce it so early? They have to, because, like I said, they have to get the fans, because they wouldn't have a franchise if they didn't have the fans. And I know some people are going to get mad about that, but that's just the way it is. When you have a niche franchise, you have to announce it early and get the people who made your niche franchise possible on board. Like, if by some miracle, Platinum and Hideki Kamiya were like, "Hey, we're gonna make Okami 2," they would have to announce that there was an Okami 2, early.
Yeah.
Like they would have to let people know about it, like how they did with Metroid Prime 4, even though they had to restart making it because for some reason some genius at Nintendo said, yeah, we shouldn't get the people who made the other 3 Metroid Primes to make this one. No, we should give it to Namco Bandai because they've made these types of games before.
Yeah.
I'm being sarcastic. They've never made a game
When's
like
the
that.
last time Yeah, when's the last time Bandai Namco made a first-person shooter?
Been a long time.
Yeah.
Long time. And even the first-person shooters they made didn't have the flavor of other first-person shooters in the genre. So that was just a really bad. Even though Metroid Prime isn't just it's more of an action-adventure first-person shooter game. Metroid game. You know, you're going back and forth, finding stuff, coming back, using it, opening up new areas. It's more like Metroid is more like the Metroid Prime games are more like a first-person Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're going into dungeons, you're fighting enemies, you're fighting a boss, you're getting a MacGuffin to fight a boss, and then you use that MacGuffin to open up new areas, to get more stuff. Like, that's the gameplay loop. And I love that. Except Metroid is way more immersive than the Metroid Prime series is way more immersive than
Legend of Zelda.
Legend of Zelda, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's better world building in Prime than Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, yeah. So
And I'm saying this is a LOZ fan, but it's the world building in LOZ is just kind of trash, really. Because every game just keeps on, like a lot of the games contradict themselves, or they have like a really good hook they could have used, and it goes by the wayside.
Cuphead, the long-awaited
DLC
was announced at the Game Awards. So
yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's
I know I said I don't want to play really hard games, but I enjoy Cuphead.
Yeah, the aesthetics are really nice.
Yeah. You know what keeps me going with that game? The aesthetic, because it's like I'm playing an old Fleischer cartoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like I'm playing Popeye.
I like the trailer because it reminded me of those old, like, 60s Toi Animation movies.
Stop animation, yeah. But it looked like they must have spent a decent amount of money to make it look cheap, but in a fun and interesting way.
Yeah.
It's like there's a scene where like Mughead is whirling backwards, and it looked cheap and haphazard, but in a way where it's like clearly someone spent money to make it look like that.
Like it was done on purpose.
Yeah,
like
it was done on purpose.
Like they were trying to emulate that style as close as they could. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I'll definitely play it and get mad, but I'll play it anyway.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Cuphead is that the game is really hard up until the final level, because after you beat Dice Head, the game gets like the final boss, the devil, is easy. But getting to the devil is like,
yeah.
I hate you. Dice Head is really the hardest boss in the game, in my opinion. And not because Dice Head is hard, it's because getting to Dice Head and beating all those games and flipping the dice.
So, The Legend of Mobius, Breath of the Wild, aka Sonic Frontier, was announced. Didn't really show anything.
It was just a trailer.
They showed.
If you ask me, I'm more confident with Sonic the Movie 2 than this game.
Yeah, well, at least Sonic 2 has Jim Carrey. We know that's going to be good. Jim Carrey's going to be good. Here's what I predict. Now, I don't have any evidence to support this, but here's what I predict. I predict they're going to show off. They showed off that awesome
trailer?
that awesome trailer with that Breath of the Wild feel to it. But I guarantee what you're really going to get is just something really generic and kind of trash.
Yeah,
because that's what the 3D Sonic games have been, generic trash.
Yeah. Apparently they got the guy to work on the comic books to write the story, which, what I've heard from the Sonic story, it sounds bonkers, but it also sounds kind of interesting too.
I mean, it's better than what we've been getting, like Sonic Forces. Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the 3D Sonic games. The only 3D Sonic game that had a kind of interesting hook to me was Sonic Unleashed, where like Sonic was infected and became the Werehog, and the Werehog was like, you know what? Forget this running around, and I'm gonna be the good guy. He's like, There's a point in Sonic Unleashed where Sonic's like, I'm just going to kill Dr. Robotnik. I'm tired of this BS.
Yeah, I was
And I
going to
love
say that I remember how it went. That Sonic was Super Sonic, and he was about to wreck Dr. Eggman when he used this power of Super Sonic and warped it to use it to break the planet, and in turn it turned Sonic into the Werehog.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, that concept of having Sonic basically say, you know what, I'm done. You have to die. Yeah. Kind of like how in that Mega Man game where Mega Man's like, you know what, Dr. Wily, I'm tired. I've had enough. I'm done. I can't take... I'm done.
Sadly, you only get that at the very end. Yeah. So Sonic, he gave it to you almost at the very start.
Yeah, but there's another point in Sonic Unleashed towards the end where he has that moment where he's like, I'm just going to kill you. You have to die. Because all the stuff Robotnik has done, really the only thing I can do is kill you. Because I can't put you in jail, you're just going to escape.
Yeah.
And there's no way I know Sonic is going to let Robotnik get sent into some kind of weird dimension, because he's going to try to find a way to come back and make Sonic pay for it.
I agree. But yeah, the Sonic trailer looked interesting, but it's probably going to be trash.
They finally showed gameplay of Suicide Squads. What did you guys think of it?
I think of Wonder Woman, Superman.
Which one?
The Suicide Squad trailer.
Oh.
What were your thoughts on it? Have you guys seen the trailer?
I saw the original trailer. Where, like...
I haven't because I felt like I already had enough Suicide Squad.
I mean, I looked at it and it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. I mean, it's... The whole principle...
Flavorless?
No, the whole point of it is that Brainiac has taken over the Justice League, and the Suicide Squad has to take them out. But obviously, I mean, like, the Justice League has Superman, and no one in the Suicide Squad is going to be able to kill Superman. So, obviously, we all know what this game's going to be about. There's going to be some missions. You're gonna disable the members of the Justice League, and it's gonna culminate with you freeing them and them teaming up to take out Brainiac, and that's gonna be the game. It's a good concept, but
yeah, it looks pretty fun to me, but I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see who's making this game.
I think it's part of Rocksteady. It's gonna make it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm not against the concept. It's just
what?
Right, I think you cut off on us.
No, I'm just saying, it's just, I mean, it just seems basic.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're gonna kill the Justice League. You're not gonna kill the Justice League.
They're too important.
They've got Superman.
Yeah.
Like,
that too.
They've got who in the Justice League? What? Harley Quinn's gonna pull out a bat and hit Superman in the face with a bat? Okay, yeah.
Unless that bat is loaded with a kryptonite core, I don't think that's gonna hit Superman in the nuts.
Even if it's got a kryptonite core, Superman has laser vision. He's got laser vision.
He can snipe you. He can snipe you like a gunner.
Green Lantern can create constructs out of using just his willpower with his mind. I mean, it's like, I know what they're going for, and it's basic. It's like, man, this could have been great if you guys hadn't been so basic. Stop being basic. That's my question. Just stop being basic.
Yeah. So, they announced the sequel to a game that came out nearly 10 years ago, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2.
Yeah, I was excited about that.
I might have to go back and play the first one.
I played the first one. It leaves you on this
funny,
cliffhanger.
since I was trying to figure out how the heck does Warhammer translate into tabletop, and my brain started to turn to mush trying to read up on how certain stats work.
Well, it began as a tabletop game, so that actually is the better fit for it than others. But I get what you're saying.
I figured out how to run it on tabletop style, and it was getting a little thick, as in there's so many stats for certain things that should be translated to English.
I remember.
Where are you coming from? Yeah.
I remember listening to a Giant Bomb podcast a few years ago when this game was announced, and one of the hosts was talking about how people were complaining that, this game just rips off Gears of War with a chainsaw
StarCraft. And
StarCraft,
the Marines.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm like, actually,
this kind of predates everything.
Actually, funny story. StarCraft actually was originally supposed to be a Warcraft game, but Games Workshop backed out at the last minute. That wasn't a smart move, Games Workshop.
Yeah.
Because literally everything in that game is just a ripoff of everything in that game is just
40K?
a ripoff. Yeah, everything in Warhammer 40k is just a ripoff of. Everything in StarCraft is a ripoff of Warhammer 40k.
Yeah.
Like the Tyranids are basically the Zerg are the Tyranids. The Federation is the Empire Man. I mean the Terran Confederation is the Empire Man. The Protoss are the Eldar.
Oh wow, it actually showed gameplay too.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah. I was just gonna do a CGI trailer, but they teased some gameplay.
Yeah, the whole CGI thing. I mean, the whole, like, you get a Marine, you get to play these mutant freak Marines who go around messing up, like, demons. And the last game left you on a huge cliffhanger. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I can go from here. I don't. So I'm cool. I like it.
And then there's Dune Space Wars.
Yeah, a Dune RTS.
Yeah, I started listening to the book, audiobook, and there's a lot.
That's a tough one.
It's a lot better because it was just like, now I know how that stuff is pronounced. 'Cause I had trouble pronouncing a lot of the lexicon pertaining to that story. So.
Well, okay.
Yeah. But,
I mean, I read the book. I didn't listen to the audio book. I would say if you really want to enjoy reading Dune, like the first book, for me, what worked for me was just listen to the soundtrack from the movie while reading the book.
Yeah.
The soundtrack for the movie is really cool. And so that kind of works a little bit.
How's the new movie? Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it on HBO Max. The movie is kind of like how the It remake was basically like a better version of the TV movie?
Yeah.
Well, the Dune movie is like a better version of the first half of the David Lynch movie.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, okay, this is a better version of that. And if you're cool with that, then that's. I mean, I'm one of those people. I don't dislike the David Lynch movie.
Yeah.
So just seeing kind of like except they're trying to make it more open to. They're trying to make it more open and inclusive, so they gender swap some characters, and they're making Paul's wife Chani into more of a major character, and I'm like, why? She's not gonna live that long. Like her only importance to the story is that she basically kind of kept him grounded from being a tyrant. That's about it. Like, I mean, and she has his children. That's about it.
So, let's go into the next topic, which is, let's see, Game Awards. So Square Enix, they announced Final Fantasy Retrograde coming to PC. Final Fantasy VII Remake Retrograde coming to PC. And, well, they decided, since it's $70 on console, we'll make it $70 on PC. And then they took it a step further with, because the rationality behind it was, well, it's Final Fantasy VII with all the DLC. So people would be like, oh, well, it should just be $70, whatever. But they decided to take it a step further with another game that came out called Forspoken. And they decided to release that for pre-order and say, yeah, that's $70 too. So what ended up happening was that the angry people on Reddit decided to have a field day, and the price disappeared. So people aren't particularly happy about the whole raising the games another $10.
Well, I didn't know that for Final Fantasy VII on PC it was going to include that Yuffie DLC for a character no one really likes in that base game. But if it includes the DLC, then $70 isn't that bad. If it includes the DLC for the like extra content, whatever. For the new game, no.
Yeah, that's
just greed.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it seems like this is something that, started, 2K, I believe, was one of the first companies saying, yeah, we're going to raise our prices to $70. And again, this was before the pandemic. This was before everything that happened, before all the shortages, before just, we're going to raise our prices to $70 because we can. And there's nothing you're going to do about it. Because you're going to keep buying our games because it's just what gamers do. They just keep buying it.
Yeah, this is called corporate greed.
Yeah.
Now they're going to use the excuse, oh, well, game development is so expensive. Actually, game development has never been cheaper.
I mean, the problem is they focus on putting all their resources, these big developers focus on putting all their resources and energy into one game,
well,
making
a handful.
Yeah, and
I won't say one game, a handful of games, and those games have to do really well, or they're, they're up a creek without a paddle.
Remember, several years. This was back in 2014, I believe, when Square Enix said, "Well, our new Tomb Raider game is a financial flop. It's a failure, and it sold like 6 million copies." And you just gotta wonder to yourself, like, what? Wait, what?
Is that my problem? See, that's the thing that gets me. These companies are like, our game is a failure. It's not my fault that you don't know how to budget.
Yeah, it's not my fault that you poured all this energy into this one game. This one game that's going to come out this year, and it needs to sell, it needs to sell 1 trillion copies in order for you to break even. It's like,
no one told them No one told Square Enix to buy Crystal Dynamics and to spend all that money putting Lara Croft in a new engine. There was nothing wrong. Why did they turn Lara Croft from a hot stack chick into someone who looks like a teenage girl who looks like she needs to go eat some steaks? I didn't say a steak. Steaks, plural. She needs to eat like 3 or 4 steaks.
Those facial animations are so weird too. I don't know.
Into a torture simulator, because they turned that game into a torture simulator. Oh man, guess what? See how many different ways we can kill Lara Croft.
Her facial animations. Ugh. But yeah, so that happened. Oh yeah, one more thing about the Game Award announcements. They showed gameplay and released a demo for that creepy looking Matrix thing. I don't know if you guys saw that. I thought
it's like the Matrix experience or something.
I thought it looked kind of weird. I mean, it looked. I don't know. What did you guys think?
Not sure entirely.
I mean, to be fair, here's the thing: the Matrix movies, the Matrix was always supposed to look off because you were always supposed to be like, there's something off about the simulation. That was part of especially the first Matrix movie. Now, the Wachowski siblings, well, they were the Wachowski brothers at the time. It kind of went off the rails with the second and third film. But the first film, the Matrix was always supposed to look like off because there was always something going on.
Yeah.
Now, they kind of met up with the later films, but, I mean, I'm just like, why? Why not just make a new Matrix game? A good one, because the last few Matrix games have been terrible. Remember the Matrix MMO?
I don't.
Oh, man. Yeah, there was the Matrix MMO, which was terrible. And then they did, like, the Matrix... They did the Matrix MMO, then they did the Matrix, like the Matrix game that was based on the second movie that was terrible. And then they did like a tie-in between the Matrix 3 and like the Animatrix. It was like, the Matrix has been one of the most mishandled franchises, both in and in like the expanded stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just not interested.
Yeah, I just thought
like it could be awesome, but I'm just like,
This was released to show their ability with Unreal 5.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still see the gamey aspects of it if you look close enough. Like you get this vibe when you're looking at it, especially when you see Keanu Reeves sitting there. It's like this doesn't look entirely real.
No, it looks like a game.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to melt your graphics card if you run it at high settings, but it's a game. I mean,
yeah.
Like, here's the thing. Epic has been losing people playing Fortnite, okay? And unlike what Tim Sweeney wants people to believe, the Epic Game Store is not, like, it's losing money, too.
Yeah.
So they got to fall back on what they know is going to make money, which is their engine. Problem is that they get their money on the back end with Unreal. It's not like it was back in the day where you license it out, they get their money up front, and then they get more money on top of it if the game sells a lot. Now, it's like it has to sell a lot, then they get their money. So, and a lot of games using Unreal 4 are not, like, barn burners or anything like that.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, this looks kind of weird to me. I mean, it looks... I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where it looks good, but at the same time it doesn't. Like
It looks artificial.
I like the uncanny valley sort of feeling getting here.
Yeah.
I know people are like, it's like, oh, this looks so realistic. It looks so. It's like it does, and yet at the same time it doesn't. It's like, oh, this looks.
No, it looks like that. Like, has everyone here seen the Matrix 3?
I've seen part of it.
Did you see it?
I
Just
have to admit, it was fun, but it felt a bit incomplete.
Okay, well, there's a part at the. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, I can't really spoil this old movie. There's a point at the end of the Matrix 3 where all the Agent Smiths start fighting Keanu Reeves, and there's a point.
Oh yeah,
where the
I remember that one.
just breaks apart, and it's like I'm watching a video game.
Yeah.
And that's how it feels watching.
Yeah, like I'm
watching a video game.
I was like, because I just looked at a small explosion. I'm just kind of like, yeah, that certainly looked like a video game. Like,
Yeah, this is a video game.
the way the car exploded, like, yeah, that fire looks pretty fake.
I mean, I'm not against them gamifying it and making it look like a video game, but ultimately, it's just. I mean, you know, it's a video. I mean, it's just a video.
I mean,
That's all it is.
I'm looking at the character models of these actors, and it just looks off. Here, I'll post it in the chat. It just something about it just looks off. It's like I'm not getting that. Oh, this looks great vibes. It's just getting like, something doesn't feel right here.
Well, what people don't understand is that Unreal is great for making scalable engines, but for ultra realistic stuff, it's very resource intensive. You know, like there's better engines for ultra realistic graphics than Unreal.
I mean, again, this is just supposed to be a tech demo. It's supposed to show what this engine is capable of. You probably wouldn't use all of these elements at once.
No, because it would break your game.
You
And
wouldn't-
plus, the Unreal Engine there's certain things the Unreal Engine can't do.
You wouldn't use all these lighting effects or all these, texture effects, or you wouldn't put this all in a single game, possibly. I don't know, but yeah, it's just.
I agree.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I guess I'm just the odd man out. I guess that's just my unpopular opinion. It just looks weird.
Agree.
All right. Next topic. I don't know if you guys have been following this. The release of the Analogue Pocket.
Yeah, I wanted to get one, but they were all sold out.
Yeah, I pre-ordered one today. I probably won't see it until
First time I heard of it, so can you boys explain?
Oh,
the Analog Pocket is the best.
It's the best clone console of the Game Boy that you can possibly get right now.
It's not just that. It's the best Game Boy ever
Yeah.
for modern ages.
It's the
best Game Boy Color ever.
It's the Game Boy. It's the Game Boy you dreamed about having when you were a kid.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
like
this is.
basically if you love your Game Boy and your Game Boy Color, but they're getting kind of old and long in the tooth, the Analog Pocket lets you play those games in the best way possible for modern ages.
If you went back in time and took this to your, childhood friends, they'd absolutely crap themselves because, the fact that you have a decent screen with nice colors and it even has an audio enhancer. Like I was watching Modern Vintage Gaming. I think that's the name of his channel, and he demoed it. I was like, this almost sounds like this almost sounds like this is coming from a Super Nintendo. I was like,
Yeah.
It's like, wow, yeah. I can't wait to get this thing. I've been been excited about it when I first saw it. It's like, man,
it's the best Game Boy. It's the best Game Boy and Game Boy Color that you can get your hands on without having like new stock.
Yeah.
Without having, the only way you could get something comparable is if you managed to get your hands on an unopened, unused Game Boy Advance that was kept in pristine condition, and you opened it now and we're playing it.
Yeah.
And good luck with that, because the Game Boy was one of Nintendo's most successful consoles. So good luck finding one that someone just had and kept in perfect shape.
Oh yeah, they all got bumps and scratches, because we were all kids when we had them. So,
I mean, they still work. That Nintendo quality back then was unimpeccable. That stuff now where they're like, the Joy-Cons are messed up and we don't know if we'll ever fix it. That wouldn't have flown 30 years ago, man. 30 years ago, Gunpei Yokoi would have been like, "No, this shall not stand."
Yeah.
But that was a different age back then. That was a different time.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Sony made a little announcement today.
Yes.
They announced their, when Sony was going after everybody for all third parties for making covers for their console and selling them, and they wanted, well, obviously, it's probably the worst kept secret. They wanted to make their own covers and charge people and sell them.
So they pulled a Take-Two?
Yeah, essentially.
They pulled a Take-Two?
Essentially, yeah. So they just announced all their different colors for their new controller lineup and their covers. So
rather than actually compete and just make a better product, they got rid of the market so that they had no competition.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a Sony thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how they basically got their foot in the market in the 5th gen. So, not by suing people, but by basically taking away market support for Sega and Nintendo. So,
Yeah.
Not really surprising that they would do some shady stuff like that now. I mean, if I could get my hands on a PS5, I wouldn't get a faceplate for it, because who cares? No one's looking at the console. People are looking at the games that the console's playing. The idea of faceplates on a console is stupid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That is... The only time I've seen a vanity console that was cool was when they had the Star Wars console that looked like R2-D2, and it made sounds like R2-D2 when you used it. But that's just cool. Yeah, it did the whistle, and that's cool. But just some faceplates, that's all you got? Really? Come on, man. Get out of here. That's just lazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally just, we just did the bare minimum. But, I mean, Sony is known to do the bare minimum these days. Like, remember how they did the bare minimum for the PlayStation Classic?
Yeah.
I mean, the PlayStation Mini. Like, we'll just do the bare minimum, and they'll accept it because we're Sony.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can also imagine who else is a cheapskate with their stuff. Toei.
Boom. Well, they did the bare minimum. They didn't even get NTSC regions. All they did, like half the games on that console were PAL region, even though it was released worldwide, and there was no setting for you to do PAL or NTSC for the game. So just some games just ran poorly. Like, this was just a cheap money grab.
Yeah, I was
Y'all
gonna
didn't care
say,
at all.
if anything, that'd be Sony PlayStation's PlayStation Micro, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's lazy.
Well, let's see. So, final topic of the night is
Is about animation company.
yeah, Toi Animation. So there's this YouTuber who reviews manga, anime. Started out reviewing a lot of Dragon Ball stuff. His name is the YouTuber's name is he goes by the moniker Totally Not Mark. And what Toei Animation decided to do is they decided to take out down 150 of his videos because of copyright. Even though they were transformative, even though he was commentating over the they it's like, yep, we're taking them down. So Japanese law, copyright law, is really weird and is obviously way different than Western copyright, or at least American copyright law. And
it's BS, is what it is.
it's absolutely insane. So
Yeah, I mean, how many, how many, how many things do you have to take down in order for you to make a point?
No, it's just kind of BS. Because I remember they had that thing in Japan where they passed that law where you couldn't have like a home, you couldn't have a bar where you hooked up a console game and charge people to play the console game.
In short, you can't have a bar arcade.
No, you can't have people playing a console game in the barcade.
yeah.
It's like some weird stuff. Like I'm like, that's stupid. In Japan, you can't.
Didn't some arcade machines basically hide a console inside their machines?
No, you literally cannot charge people in Japan to come in and play console games, like in a barcade setting.
Okay,
Like,
I was just saying that.
But they'll come and confiscate the machines.
Okay, I was just thinking that. Didn't some arcade machines have a console hidden inside them?
Well, I mean that's true for a lot of arcade machines. I mean, Neo Geo is basically a whatever. Kenoshi, what were you?
The ironic thing is, right? So Toei Animation has come up to him for some promotional tool. So, which is a double slap in the face, because it's like, you want me to promote your stuff, but yet you're gonna take down my reviews of me reviewing your content. That's really odd. And yeah, so that's
A bot. I think Toei basically said, look, we want to crack down on people using our content. That was the but. And then I think that that someone at Toei was like, okay, we want to get people on board. This guy does a lot of our content. Like this is the case of the left hand not knowing what the right hand's doing.
yeah.
But companies do this all the time.
Yeah, and it's not it's not really just Nintendo, or it's Japanese. It's just a Japanese thing, and I guess Sony has been known to do this in the past. Well, I guess they're doing this with their faceplates because they don't want anybody to step on their toes.
They don't want competition.
Yeah, so. And some of those videos didn't even use footage. It was just like a how to draw tutorial sort thing. Going back to Toei taking down Totally Not Mark's videos. So yeah, they didn't even really use their content. So
Yeah, and like we said, it's they don't want competition.
Yeah.
You know, like once you realize these companies don't want competition, it's so much easier to understand these things. They don't want competition. They don't want people. You know, they don't want it.
Yeah.
Because you know what competition means, right?
It means the possibility of not making money, not making as much money as you think, and also the possibility is, oh, I actually have to put in effort.
Yeah. And, you know, Sony, like these companies, okay, the anime industry isn't as profitable as it used to be because animation, they are very big on, you know, they're very big on not basically paying,
They're
you know,
animators.
yeah, they're very big on. So it's like razor thin margins for the companies. Like they make money off of the licensing for the shit. For the stuff, than not like the actual, like not for the actual animation. They make money off of licensing. Like Hello Kitty makes its money off of the Hello Kitty makes its money off of the licensing of Hello Kitty merchandise, not actual from animation.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball makes its money from the licensing, not from the animation. The animation is a driver for the licensing, but you know, it's the stuff around it that makes the money. So you know, they're very weird about like, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that, you know.
Yeah.
They're kind of jerks about it though.
And yeah, I just wish there were better rules. But obviously, you know, I guess you have to some degree, abide by each country's laws, which
I mean,
I don't know.
What's good, people?
What's going on?
Wait, what are you guys talking about?
Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not coming through. You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they need to. There needs to be a medium. There needs to be a
Center?
balance. Yeah, there needs to be a balance.
So, Thanos, what do you think of all of that? Did you know about the whole copyright stuff?
What copyright regarding what?
Oh, Toi Anime. Basically, there was this anime reviewer who got a bunch of his videos taken down, and like 150 videos taken down. But they were all transformative. It was all, you know, commentary as well as review, and some of those videos weren't even using footage from that particular animation. It was like a how to draw tutorial. So yeah,
Other YouTubers are using his what? Clips of his videos?
no, it was Toei Animation, which is a big Japanese animation publishing company. It does anime for like Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and some other stuff.
Well, animation for Dragon Ball Z used to be under a different animation house, but like it finally like they lost the rights to it, and Toei picked it up, and Toei's basically been kind of like aggressive with going after people who are like showing it, like talking about it, people who are using it. It's kind of weird, but whatever.
So they got the rights to his work?
It's not that they have the rights to his work. It's just that they the Japanese laws don't really apply. They're not the same as, say, Western copyright laws, which allow for transformative content, meaning commentary, reviews, and stuff like that. Like the old riff tracks, where people would riff or commentate on movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah, but a lot of those were public domain, so there wasn't a rights issue. Which is why you can't see certain seasons of Mystery Science Theater 3000, because the ones that weren't public domain, they like the Godzilla ones, which are some of the best MST 3000, MSTK 3000s. You can't watch them because there's no the station that didn't have the rights to them, so it was kind of like an undercover thing.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch them, you can, but it's going to be really bad quality because someone recorded them on VHS back in the day. But they're funny. They're still pretty good.
And it's like what? It's pertaining YouTube.
I mean, I think this is a YouTube issue. Because YouTube basically goes to these companies that hold the content rights, and they're like, look, do you want to crack down on people who are using this stuff? And the companies probably say, blanket, yeah. But then someone in the company's like, yeah, there's a YouTuber who's like always covering our stuff, and we can pay them money to cover this new stuff coming out pertaining to the content. So it's a case of the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing.
Yeah.
In a lot of these cases.
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube doesn't really defend, I don't know if it is their site, so I guess they can make the rules, but if they're like, I guess if they might be afraid to step in and be like, hey, well, you can't do this is transformative content. And, Japanese company
like promoting their stuff?
Yeah, like
using their material?
Yeah, using their promoting it, commentating over it. They might be afraid to
using it for criticism and the like.
The thing is
this is nothing new.
Yeah,
it's
like in the bodybuilding industry, this shit happens all the time.
Yeah,
What you guys just described. There's a guy. Man, I forgot his name. Big bodybuilder, Mr. Olympia, YouTube content creator. He covers all the bodybuilding. He's huge. Nick Armstrong or Nick Powerstrong, whatever. He just covers bodybuilding because I study a lot of bodybuilders, and same shit happened to him just this year too. He covered a ton of Mr. Olympia stuff, and a couple of days later, his channel was striked, and he was pissed about it. And and it only hurts, the people who hold the contest for Mr. Olympia because it's big, but it's not that big. So the more
it's not mainstream.
Yeah, it's not mainstream. The more promotion they get, the better for them. But and in the end, he worked it out. They contacted him, they apologized, and they allowed him to do reviews and cover Mr. Olympia and behind the scenes. But whose fault it is, I don't know. I don't know if it's part of YouTube or it's just dumb or has something to do with money, but this is nothing new. This happens in a lot of genres.
This has been a problem for years. Usually people, pertaining to gaming, people go after Nintendo. They've been crazy about it, but there have also been other gaming companies like Sony. Has also been really weird about certain things, especially with the faceplate stuff. But that's not really YouTube. That's hardware. But yeah, it's been a problem, especially in anime. With anime, like I know that some people are very careful about how much animation that they show, so they'll show manga panels majority of the time when they're talking about a particular anime, because for example, Naruto anime, the real, I think it's Tokyo TV that publishes that or has the rights
The
to
whole
it.
copyright thing is all bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a game that people play, and those who comply suffer.
Yep.
The whole purpose of copyright was for VHS.
Well,
That was the whole purpose. And then as time went on, they just, lawyers started just adding more, verbiage to it and different languages and more policies and all this stuff. It started progressing way too fast.
Yeah.
I think if people want to get angry about copyright law, then people need to get mad at. Need to get, if they really want to get mad at somebody, they need to get mad at Disney. Because Disney is the company that has been making copyright law
that's basically
terrible.
They just hire lobbyists, and then they put these things into law, and it just starts progressing from there. I mean, you can't remember when they wanted to copyright Let's Play? How do you copy words?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just gets to the point where it just gets ridiculous, and then people play the game, and like I said, those who comply end up paying the consequences for it. And to the point where when you want to do something about it, and it's gotten ridiculous, it's too late.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the reason why, certain things just don't really get made because there's no impetus for certain things to get made because people just want to,
No, you'll never hear another Steve Jobs creating Mac in a garage. You'll never hear a story like that ever again.
Well, I mean, you might, but it's going to get bought out by some big corporate person who's gonna basically be like, oh yeah, we funded it, so now we own it. It's like, but I created it. Well,
yeah, it's just like it's gonna get harder and harder for new social media websites to be just as big as Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. It just gets harder and harder. They buy them out. They put pressure. If not, they buy out the servers.
Yeah. Or they just basically, it's really hard for them to get their foot in the door, which is, tough.
I
I think Parler was like that, where they started competing with Twitter, and Amazon just shut down the servers on them.
Yeah.
And that's it. End of story. Done. And Google, the Play Store, removed the app from the Play Store. And it's funny because these companies, they operate, or they're all on the same page. They operate on the same umbrella. They communicate, and then they tag team on the competition.
Yeah, I think
Well,
they make they make deals. It's like I share a lot of all these companies. They go to the same parties and
They know
make deals with the same politicians to do whatever.
I mean, the thing is that they're all in bed together. It's a very incestuous relationship. I mean, okay, the whole Bobby Kotick thing, right? With Activision Blizzard. Well, Bobby Kotick's also a board member for Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
So people are surprised that Coca-Cola put through these anti-employee measures when you've got people on the board like Bobby Kotick, who, in his own company, very anti-employee. So, I mean, it's like, when you have the same people making the same decisions who are part of the same power pool, like all this stuff kind of, it cross-pollinates. Unfortunately, sadly.
So,
Because it's not cool, but that's the way it is.
So, since you came in late, what were your thoughts on the Game Awards and the announcements?
Didn't watch it.
Didn't watch it.
Because I don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything, man. You know what it is? It's just more graphics on the box art. That's it.
Yep.
And I'll tell you why. Because what was it? The game called Control won like I don't know how many awards, and you saw these stamps on Game of the Year and scored the 93 from whatever and all these, these awards that they so-called won. I played it and I uninstalled it in about an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh,
Shit was garbage. Gameplay was garbage. Talking
Well-
about, there's never been a game that played like this.
You want to know what I've learned?
Game is garbage.
What I've learned in gaming is when you find a game that is over marketed, it's normally trash.
yeah.
Like if it's over, like if they're like, yeah, this game, it's so great, and they're putting it everywhere, it's like, yeah, this is not gonna be. If you see a game that's,
you know what? Let me clarify. It wasn't that it was just trash, because it was just boring. It was nothing
Yeah.
new. The gameplay was, even though you can do a gameplay a million times like Mario, but Mario's still fun. It didn't deserve like game of the year. Gameplay that we've never seen before, control that we never played before. That was all bullshit. It was all exaggeration.
Well, the thing is,
well, yeah,
It was a really fancy, like a PS3 game.
yeah.
At
yeah, well, I
best.
mean, but like, a lot of games are like that. Like The Last Guardian, even though it came out on the PS4, was the last
Last of Us
PS3
was
game.
like that.
Yeah.
It won all these
So-
awards, and I just told my son. I told my son like two or 3 days ago when we were talking about The Last of Us, and I said 90% of the time, you're just crouching,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
being quiet.
Well, it's one big escort mission. Except the hilarious thing about The Last of Us is that Ellie can make all the noise in the world. She can knock over bottles, pass gas like a loud one. The zombies ignore her, but Joel like sneezes. He breathes hard. The zombies are on him. But
Well, I remember there was a couple of guys that defended the shit out of that game. I think Silver Sky was one of the guys who talked about Last of Us being one of the greatest games ever made. And I think what it is, it's just appealing to him because it's story driven. And if I want to play a story game, I'd rather read a book or
Well,
watch a movie.
The thing is,
Same.
yeah,
well, it's an interactive. It's an interactive movie, is what it is. And to be fair, there are games that were like that back in the day on PC. They were called adventure games.
I mean,
Or if I want to play a specific game like that, then I'll play like the Walking Dead series. I forgot what it's called by I forgot the name of the company that did it. Telltale.
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 Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
play something
Telltale.
like that.
Yeah, but
That
those
was
are adventure
pretty decent.
games. Those
Yeah.
are modern adventure games, and they tell a story, but you're kind of in control of what happens in the story.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, I mean, like that's good. But I mean, you're spending all this money on a game with these realistic graphics, like for some creepy reason, they made the main female protagonist in that series look like Ellen Page. Someone was really obsessed with Ellen Page. Now it's Elliot Page, whatever.
You know what? When it comes to money, regarding anything really, but money in video games, I learned this like 3 years ago. It's a guy who makes glasses. It's some company, and they had him in an interview, and he makes glasses. He makes just shades, sunglasses for people, and he also makes for Gucci and some of the really big brands that we're aware of. And his glasses, his shades can cost anywhere between $3 to $280 to $600. And he said it's made out of all the same material. It's just, if you think about it, when you go to the store and you look at these glasses and they're like $300, $400, $500, $250, $380, all it is glass, which is sand, metal, and plastic. The materials are cheap. He said, whatever the item is, it's worth whatever the consumer's willing to pay for it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it. That's it. That's it. So if people are paying $150 per video game, then that's what it's worth because people decided that's what it's worth.
Well,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what-
either that or they're willing to accept it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
worth whatever the consumer's willing to pay for it.
Like
I think that $70 started. I think you're stepping on people's toes at
And,
this
and
point.
that's the thing. If people continue to buy it at that price,
people pay for
then
it.
they will keep it at that price. If not, they'll find other ways to
You know.
lower it and then split the game in half or whatever it may be. But if it's $69.99 and it stays like that for years, then that means that the
It's gonna be
majority of people will-
$69.99. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean
they
this
will
and this
willing to
isn't
pay
just
for
a this isn't just a price issue. This is quality. Like gamers accepted games coming out broken. They accepted it instead of calling these companies out on it. Gamers accepted the Red Ring of Death with the Xbox 360. Didn't call them out on it.
What do you think early access is?
Yeah, early access. They accepted
means,
it.
look, you're paying for a game that isn't developed, and people that work in publishing, even books, you can actually. They've been doing this now too. Well, not
Advanced
recently, but you can pre-order books,
editions,
and the book's not even finished yet.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, like I'm not like early access and advanced reader content because I've done that because I used to be a big band reader and band's website had that. Like you're paying a base price and you'll eventually get the finished thing. You get to see what it's about. But I mean, early access, you know what you're getting. Okay, this is not the full game, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes you get in at a lower price and then you get the full game, the price goes up because more content was added. And so sometimes you get a better end of the deal because let's keep it real. I think everyone here can say that we all have a backlog of games. Like, it's not like, oh man, I have nothing else to play until this early access game I put like $14.99 down on Steam. Once it's full, I have nothing else until the game is completed. I mean, I think everyone in some way, shape, or form has a backlog of games to play and stuff to do. But I mean, when someone's charging you full price for a game, hey, this game's $60-$70, and there's stuff missing.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm playing Halo Infinity. Whatever it's called. I'm playing that, and that game is nowhere near done.
Yeah. I heard the single player campaign is. No, they say it's good, but it could have been so much more.
Yeah.
It is because you know what they're doing. This is the exact same blueprint Destiny did. It's the exact same blueprint.
So 343 Studios is still cribbing off of Bungie's notes, huh?
Pretty much, yeah.
But in the worst way.
They are half a Bungie.
Yeah, it's just
I don't probably considering what Bungie's doing right now. Oh boy. I
mean, this is my own personal opinion, just because I kind of really did like Halo 1, 2, and 3. I really do think that 343 is. They may be half of Bungie, but they definitely didn't get the good half of the talent. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same. It's the same blueprint. It's one of those games that you buy and you know that it'll get better as time goes on. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, but the good thing is that the major part of Halo, which is the multiplayer, is free. So, I mean, it doesn't feel quite as bad. Could you imagine how bad that would be if they charge you for the online multiplayer and all that stuff was missing?
Well, yeah, they're still adding to it. I think they came out with on Twitter. They came out with some updates on Twitter and stuff like that. But the design of the multiplayer, like the levels, the setup, the way they have players play, is pretty brilliant. It's actually really good. It's clever. It is real clever design. There's a lot of strategy. Even if the map is small, it's still a lot.
Yeah,
I
noticed the maps were kind of small.
Yeah, even if they're small, there's still a lot of strategy. Way more than Call of Duty.
Yeah, but that's kind of damning them with faint praise, isn't it? Because Call of Duty hasn't really been on its best. Call of Duty hasn't been in the best
for a time.
It hasn't put its best foot forward in a long time.
Yeah, it's just pretty much because I got the new one too, and it's pretty much it's just like little better here and there, and people play it because it's different.
It's Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's Call of Duty. It's just
they're used to it,
really.
Yeah, they're used to playing Call of Duty, and they want to play with their friends. And it's Call of Duty. It's like a thing. It's like even people who don't like football will watch the Super Bowl because it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's Call of Duty's like that. It's like there are people who year in year out have bought the WWE 2K series, even though the 2K series has not been good for years now, but people have bought it because that's what they do. They're creatures of habit. Oh well.
Yeah, well, like the last 2 years have been kind of lacking, and that's normal because every time there's a new console, you can tell that the developers drop what they're doing and then move on to the new projects, and that's usually a 2-year cycle before it starts.
plus for 2K, Ukes left. Like, and people were mad at Ukes. They were like, "Yeah, we're tired of the same old." But at least, like, Ukes knew how to use that really bad engine that 2K had been giving them to use. Like the new studio that they got were just like, "What are we doing this?" And 2K21 came out. It was like, "Oh God, no, not 21. 2K19." It was like, "Oh, what is this?" Like it was more buggy than usual.
Well, then shit with gaming, there's a really, really sharp corner to turn. When is it gonna happen? I don't know. I don't even know if we're in the process of making that turn. But from what I'm seeing, and from my understanding, hardware is gonna be a big, big issue. And I think that they're already aware of that, and they've been making plans to make games more digital on more platforms.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about, because I was listening to a report about how much the Switch sold during Black Friday. It sold 500,000 units the week of Black Friday. It sold 500,000. So I'm kind of curious about the and it actually sold a decent amount throughout the year. Yeah, I understand that the Switch has 3 SKUs. It has the OG Switch, it has the Lite, and it has the OLED. But I mean, the fact that it's still going this strong, especially with people complaining about how they can't find an Xbox or can't find a
Well, that could have been a
PS5.
sales strategy. They could have pulled back for a couple of months, and then when close to Black Friday, they start pumping it out to retailers.
That could be. That could
I
be.
mean,
You know, it
I
could be a
think
sales strategy.
I think they're reaching market saturation with the Switch. I think the people who really, really want a Switch have gotten a Switch. And I think what you have left are people who are like upgrading, or they're getting a Switch Lite or Switch. They're either upgrading to a Switch OLED, or their kids. They're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get my kid a Switch Lite or something." Because I mean, you're reaching the point with the Switch now where you like the people who like really wanted a Switch, they have a Switch, or they have 2 Switches, or they have a Switch and someone in their family has a Switch. So now you're going to have people upgrading, people, get their kids a Switch Lite because if they break a Switch Lite, the Switch Lite is what
200 bucks? Yeah.
It's 200. You know, you don't feel quite as bad about them breaking a Switch Lite because it's 200. Versus them breaking the 350 OLED model.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got the Switch like the first 2 months of release. My wife just got the Lite about 8 months ago, and my son just picked up the OLED yesterday.
Yeah, so it's going to be people, but I mean, back to what you were saying. Yeah, I do think that the issue is the hardware, but I think it's why all these companies keep on saying want to go to the cloud, because at this point, the consoles are getting too expensive to make, and the games are getting too complicated for you to try and port them to lower tiered hardware, or just like because the developers can't afford to put the time to optimize the games. They don't have the resources to do it. So they just want to do the power of the cloud.
Well, the shit is,
or brute force it.
From what I understand, is scalpers are smarter and more organized than ever before, and chips. Getting chips is extremely difficult, especially if China goes to war with Taiwan. It's going to be years before things go back to so-called normal. Years. And that's a huge, huge problem in the chip manufacturing industry. And a lot of people is being affected, including AMD, NVIDIA, Intel. They're all being affected by it. And I think, Sony announced a couple of weeks ago that they might be doing something like Game Pass on PC.
Yeah.
And so that's, you need to get that software in people's hands. And if you have a hard time, I don't know how the fuck I got a PS5, but I got it by pure luck. somebody in Facebook contacted me because they saw I was selling the video card, and bam, I got a PS5. And the guy who sold it to me, when we went, we went to some like supermarket at the parking lot, and so I gave him the video card, and he opened the back of his truck, and he had like 8 boxes of PS5, and I said, just give me the digital one. It's a scalper, man. He had like 8 or 9 boxes of PS5s. But yeah, I don't know how they do it, but they do it.
Gonna be used for crypto.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't really use unless you modify the consoles. You can't really use them for crypto. But I think
Saying the vid card.
I think the processing speed would be too slow.
I guess you could. I think what I think about the whole Game Pass thing for PlayStation. I think that's because I mean, even though Sony fans like to claim that Sony's first party games are great, like a very small percentage actually buy them.
Oh yeah, Kotaku did an article. I saw a headline saying PlayStation owners don't buy their games.
Yeah, because the PlayStation, like when Microsoft messed up with their announcement of the Xbox One, and Don Matrick went up there and firmly stuck his foot in his mouth, and then somehow levitated and stuck the other foot in his mouth, and then put his hands in his mouth too. Like basically during that 8th gen, it switched because it used to be that a lot of the more mainstream games would get on the Microsoft system, and then your more niche single player experiences would go on your PlayStation. It switched. Now it's the opposite. So a lot of games that used to, like franchises that used to be more mainstream casual, the people playing those games are on PlayStation. That's just the way it is. And like Sony's like, we're spending all this money on our first party games. We need to get some money out of it, which is a smart move. But I mean,
I mean, no, as it is now, no one's gonna beat PlayStation.
Well, no.
The way it is now, and the way we can't really can't compare Nintendo to Sega to Microsoft, Sony PlayStation. Those are 2 completely different time periods in time.
Yeah.
And as they became more competitive, and they started hiring better engineers, and because before, if you saw a Nintendo game and you saw a Sega game, you can tell which was what.
Yeah.
And as time went on, these consoles became very, very similar. So there could be a gameplay on TV right now, and I couldn't, no way, been playing games for 35 years, and there's no way I can tell you if that game is running on a particular console unless a button shows up.
Well, to be fair, both Microsoft and Sony, like these 9th gen consoles are not really consoles in the conventional sense. They're micro gaming.
Here are the here are like so the beginning of the article says just 2 games rank among the top 10 most played PS5 games to date. Spider-Man Miles Morales is one of them. And here's like the top 3 games: Fortnite, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and FIFA 21. Those are all
third-party multiplayer.
Those are third-party multiplayer games. And the 2 games that are
Sony first party
are Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Demon's Souls. And that is at number 8 and 9.
And let's keep it real.
So
Spider-Man Miles Morales was initially an expansion for The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. I have both of them.
So, I mean, like, and Demon's Souls is a multiplat as well.
Yeah, it's on
PC. I know it's on PC.
Yeah.
Morales
is better. I'd rather play Morales than the original.
I mean, it's subjective.
It's not to the point where you're gonna. It's not like you're missing out.
But I mean, my point is this: is that like Sony has a first party problem. Sony has, like they say in the streets, Ben had a first party problem. And when Microsoft, Microsoft kind of sells the foot in the 8th gen. and they relinquished their casual, Xbox nature. That TV sports didn't work out for him. And Phil Spencer's really look. The man has done miracles, but it would take Sony doing a massive misstep. Now, considering that Sony typically gets very arrogant when they have a run, like they had a run during the 5th and 6th gen, so they got arrogant during the 7th gen. They had a run during the 8th gen, and they're starting to get arrogant now. They might do a misstep this generation, because for them it just started. So, who's to say? But I don't think Microsoft is going to beat them. I think in numbers, if the Switch continues to sell and Nintendo does what they do, it's going to do well. But the Switch isn't a conventional console. It's a hybrid gaming device, and I can't really call it a console.
A gamer such as myself, I don't expect Nintendo to outperform anyone.
I don't mean outperform in terms of performance. I mean in terms of like saying, okay, this is a high selling console, and I mean this is a high selling gaming device, and it's ubiquitous. I think just with the lead that the Switch had and stuff like that, it's going to be very hard for because things are different. Like you don't have like Microsoft shooting themselves in the buttocks, both cheeks, this gen like you had last gen, where people were spite buying PS4s. I have a PS4. Nothing special. I
have a PS4 Pro, and
a
lot of the games I wanted to play on the PS4 are kind of finding themselves on PC, and I'm just kind of now I'm like, why do I have this freaking thing? It sounds like a jet engine when I turn it on.
Yeah. It's just in general, it's loud. The games are okay. I'd rather play a lot of them on PC where I can mod them and add new features and stuff like that. But I mean, to each his own. But I mean, these companies, they want to make money. I'm not against people making money. I own a business. I want to make money, but I mean, I don't want to make money by taking advantage of my consumer base.
Hey guys,
a lot of these companies are doing that.
We've been going for a while, so I just kind of want to
wrap it up.
So
yeah,
go ahead and give your sign-offs.
I would do a shout out, but I killed everybody in the past. So.
Haha.
I
jacked myself up.
Thank you for joining us on Project Console. If anything, we'll be back here next week at 7:30.
And Miss Red Fox, want to pimp out your show?
Sure. Ms. Red Fox, owner pride of BS Busters. The podcast every 7:30 every Wednesday and Saturday, 7:30 to 9. You know what it is.
Yep, and this is Kanoshi